When do you remember learning your first potty word? Was it in public schooling? From your older brother? From the teenagers at the local park? From your dad telling your mom he doesn't want to unload the GD-MFing dishwasher one more time before eventually getting an emotionally scarring divorce? I learned mine on bus number 64 at the ripe age of 6. A little boy had just gotten an iPod from his loving parents, and my sister, enraged by the inequity, called him a little B-word and threw his backpack, iPod included, outside the window. Briefly afterwards, we got kicked off the bus, and I was forced to endure a long conversation about what a bad word is and why I absolutely could not, under any circumstance, ever use one of these secret magic words. Needless to say, I found myself completely enthralled, and soon enough I was throwing F-bombs and B-blasts in every direction. I became a potty word connoisseur. If my older sister tested me in any way, shape, or form, I would unsheathe my potty word sword and slice her into thousands of pieces. But one thing bothered and continues to bother me. What's the point of creating a word that I'm not even allowed to use? And why are we taught as a society that these words are bad in the first place? And if they are so bad, why do we like using them so much? First, we need to look at where exactly these words came from and why they're so largely popular. Like many other words in the English language, the origin and etymology of a majority of these words is widely unknown. Numerous sources highlight that most swear words likely come from Germanic, Scandinavian, or French background. So let's take a gander at some of the most popular ones in the US. The F word, the V word, and the S word. According to Oxford English Dictionary, the F word, my personal favorite, was of Germanic origin and was not widely used until the 16th century when it meant to strike or hit something. The Etymology Dictionary notes that the F word was considered so taboo that it was outlawed in print in England in 1857 and then in the US in 1873. However, it did not lose its popularity in spoken language. Finally, in 1950, the ban in the US was lifted and the popularity of the F in the press skyrocketed, as well as its use in everyday conversation. Next, let's take a peek at the B word. The Etymology Dictionary says the B word was derived from Old English vic, or female dog. Signs of its popularity became more obvious in the 1900s when it started to walk the line of more insulting. Around 1915, most published books and articles cited the B word only referring to a female dog. Then, around the 1920s, the popularity of using it as a bad word began climbing, and in 1935, the use of it as a slur outnumbered the use referring to a dog. Finally, let's look at the S word. It, like the other ones, is mostly of Germanic origin, along with a tad of Dutch. Universally, it means the same thing, poop or to poop, depending on if it's being used as a noun or a verb. And hopefully you all graduated second grade and know what those are. According to Taylor Dennis's Profanity, the S word comes from even older words meaning to part with, separate, or cut off. And based on that definition, it actually used to be a neutral word with no vulgar connotation. Our favorite website, the Etymology Dictionary, which I've already referenced thrice if you haven't noticed, tells us that the past tense of the word, shat, paved way for numerous hilarious cultural expressions in as early as the 14th century, highlighting a connection between fear and involuntary defecation. Thanks to people's love of bathroom humor and coming up with clever ways to insult people, we have wonderful expressions such as shitting bricks and scared shitless, which didn't show up until the early 60s. But anyway, regardless of where they came from, because let's be real, none of you really care about that, the question remains, why do we love using expletives so much? And more importantly, what caused them to become illegal in our land of language? The answer is surprisingly simple. According to Christopher Wong of the New York Times in 2017, these words are impermissible because of something called the profanity paradox, established by Benjamin K. Virgin, who wrote a book about what swearing reveals about our language and cultural norms. The paradox basically establishes that the reason we think these words are bad is because we're taught that from childhood, revealing that profanity is a cultural construct that perpetuates itself throughout time. The very act of suppressing these words in our language is what creates the same taboo for the next generation of potential potty mouths. In simple terms, the paradox is that profane words are powerful only because we make them such. Without being censored, all the words we designate as potty words would just be regular old words. Thus, the reason we love to do it and why they're so popular is because they're taboo and vulgar, and they're only vulgar because we make them. And then that's all I have. That's it. Interesting, right?